You've got to start with the customer experience and work back toward the technology, not the other way around. According to Steve Jobs, when creating a product, always prioritize the customer's experience first. Focus on what they need and how you want them to feel. Once you understand that, then choose the right technology to make it happen. If you're thinking about starting a business and you look up to innovators like Steve Jobs, you're in for a ride. Jobs didn't just create products, he revolutionized entire industries. Let's dive into the key strategies that Jobs used, which could help you create your own path to greatness. In today's fast-moving world, finding a gap in the market and having a clear vision are key to creating products that people actually want. But how Steve Jobs identified a market gap? Steve Jobs was able to spot a big opportunity in the world of computers. Back in the day, computers were bulky, hard to use, and not something everyone could access or enjoy. Jobs saw that people didn't just want tech for tech's sake. They wanted it to be useful, easy, and fit into their everyday lives. So, how did Steve Jobs build a strong team in the early days of Apple? Well, here's the thing. When you're starting out, you've got to know what you're good at and where you need help. Maybe you're great at coming up with big ideas or pitching your vision, but when it comes to things like product design or tech skills, you're kind of lost. A lot of people starting businesses face this exact problem, but Jobs solved it by teaming up with Steve Wozniak, a total genius when it came to building innovative tech. Jobs wasn't good at everything, but he knew exactly who to bring in to make his ideas come to life. They complemented each other perfectly. Jobs and Steve Wozniak built the Apple I. They didn't just make it for tech geeks. At first, they targeted hobbyists, people who loved to tinker with computers. But Jobs had this bigger vision. He realized that computers could be for everyone, not just the experts. So he shifted his focus to make the Apple I affordable, functional, and easy to use for regular people. He wanted it to be something the average person could get their hands on and actually use without needing a tech degree. Next is the execution and securing funding, building the Apple. I wasn't easy though. Jobs needed money to bring his idea to life, and that's where he got creative. He sought out Mike Markla, an early investor who didn't just throw money at the project but also gave Jobs business advice. Having that early investor was crucial because without it, Jobs wouldn't have had the resources to take Apple from an idea in a garage to a real company. Steve Jobs didn't just want Apple to be another tech company. He wanted it to stand out, not just for how it worked, but for how it looked. When he designed the Apple I, he made sure it had a clean, minimalist look that was different from the bulky, complex computers people were used to seeing. It wasn't just about tech specs. Jobs focused on making Apple products simple and user-friendly. Simplicity is key. If people feel like they can easily understand and use your product, they're more likely to stick with it. But how Steve Jobs executed? Jobs wasn't just about flashy looks. Every detail mattered. He made sure Apple's designs were user-friendly, intuitive, and something that people felt good using. For example, the Apple I was simple, but it wasn't just about ease. It was also about making people feel like they were part of something cutting-edge and exclusive. Steve Jobs wasn't just focused on making computers for hobbyists anymore. The Apple II had color graphics, something that was super innovative at the time, and it was marketed as a complete system, not just a bunch of parts you had to figure out. Now, with demand for computers exploding, Apple needed to scale up quickly to meet this new demand. But scaling isn't just about producing more, it's about making sure you can handle growth without sacrificing quality. Jobs knew Apple needed a solid supply chain to meet the growing demand for computers. If they couldn't get the parts they needed or deliver products on time, they'd lose customers. So Jobs brought in professionals like John Scully, a marketing genius from Pepsi, to help him grow the company efficiently. When Steve Jobs worked on developing the Macintosh, he wasn't just thinking about another computer. So he pivoted Apple toward graphical user interfaces, GUIs, which means the computer would have things like icons and buttons you could click on, instead of just typing commands. It was way easier for regular people to use. When it came to marketing, Jobs was a master. He used iconic strategies like the 1984 Super Bowl ad to create buzz and excitement around the Macintosh. The ad wasn't just a commercial, it was an event. Jobs created mystery and anticipation before every product launch, making people want to be a part of the Apple experience. Jobs wasn't just focused on building products, he was obsessed with building a culture of excellence at Apple. He created an environment where everyone was expected to be creative, innovative, and relentless about getting things perfect. This reality distortion field was a way of pushing his team to do things they didn't think were possible. He pushed people hard, but it worked. Apple became a place where impossible things happen. In 1985, Steve Jobs was kicked out of Apple, the company he co-founded. It was a huge personal blow, and he could have easily given up. But instead, he used it as a strategic pause. He didn't just sit around feeling sorry for himself. He turned his attention to other projects, starting Next, a computer company, and Pixar, a company focused on animation. This time out of Apple allowed Jobs to learn some valuable lessons in leadership, innovation, and how to handle failure. He saw the bigger picture and realized that losing control of Apple didn't mean losing his ability to create and innovate in other fields. Sometimes, taking a step back can be the best thing for your growth. Now, with Next, Jobs went all in on building high-end, innovative computers. But the reality? Next failed commercially. While the product was technically brilliant, it didn't hit the mark in terms of mass market appeal. This experience was a big wake-up call for Jobs. What Jobs learned here was the importance of balancing innovation with practicality. You can have the most cutting-edge product, but if it's too expensive, too niche, or doesn't solve real-world problems in a scalable way, it's not going to succeed in the long run. He learned how to build products that were not just groundbreaking but also functional and commercially viable. Steve Jobs didn't stop at computers. He expanded his vision by acquiring Pixar, a struggling animation studio. Instead of just investing, he got hands-on, bringing his leadership and innovation to the company. Pixar's breakthrough came with Toy Story, revolutionizing animation. This success gave Jobs a new platform in the entertainment industry, showing how he could apply lessons from tech to create breakthroughs in a different field. Jobs proved that setbacks aren't defeats, but opportunities to pivot, innovate, and grow, ultimately expanding his influence beyond the tech world. In 1997, Steve Jobs came back to Apple when the company was almost done for. They were in serious financial trouble, and Jobs had to turn things around fast. His first move was to simplify everything. Apple had way too many products, so he cut out the unnecessary stuff and focused on the key ones, making things clearer and easier for everyone. Jobs also redefined what Apple was about. Instead of just being a tech company, he turned it into a brand that was all about a seamless experience. He wanted all their products, like the iMac, iPod, iTunes, and later the iPhone, to work perfectly together. Focus on what matters, keep it simple, and make sure your products click together. That's how you build a strong, relevant brand. And that's the business strategies from Steve Jobs. In the end, always start with the customer in mind and create products that not only meet their needs but wow them. Whether it's through innovation, design, simplicity, or disrupting entire industries, Jobs showed us that the path to success lies in creating a brand that people believe in and a customer experience they can't forget. If you want to build a business that stands the test of time, take these lessons to heart. Focus on delivering a seamless, emotionally connected experience and never compromise on quality. Remember, the goal isn't just to sell a product, it's to create a loyal community that sees your brand as an essential part of their lives.